Hey, welcome to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. Arif Halaby and Jeff Girard on your place for news, talk, information about your family's retirement, planning for your future, really trying to figure out life and figure out what it's going to take to at least plan for your own retirement in this turbulent financial times. You pay attention every day, if you will, to what goes up and down in the market, and are your pension accounts going to be there the way you thought? If you remember back in the old days, if you will, retirement accounts used to go up 3, 4, 5% a year, depending on cost of living and inflation. Today, retirement accounts are built differently. Many of these pension funds themselves have capped, which means they've put a ceiling on the amount of growth your income can have each and every year, at generally at the most of about 3%. So what does that mean? That means if you earn $1,000 a month in your pension and the cost of living, so next year, the cost of buying goods and services costs $1,100 to buy those same things that you spent last year, $1,000, you don't get all $1,100. They don't raise it. They only give you about $30. So how do you make up that difference? How do you make up the difference in which you used to buy goods and services on a particular dollar figure, but today it's less money? The only way you're going to do that is to have a supplemental source of income. In other words, a piece of your retirement has to come from someplace other than your company, your corporate, or your government pension. I just think that is going to be the new normal. The new standard is multiple sources of income in retirement and not just one, not just counting on that pension that you've worked for wonderful 20, 30, 40 years. That's nice. But it just isn't going to be there the same as you thought. I believe there's going to be some changes. And so we have built our practice around that supplemental source of retirement income, if you will, filling the gap. Maybe not the day you retire. Some people say, no, I can live okay. But it's later on down that road. Well, folks, I'm Arif Halaby along with Jeff Girard. We're talking about retirement income and how to use annuities for those retirement dollars, for that extra income, how to fill that gap. And are they a good idea? Let's start with that first, Jeff. Often people will say, annuities are very illiquid, which means I can't touch the money, or it's locked up, or it's put in that bucket and I can't access it. I don't know if that's exactly accurate. Over time we see that there's different liquidity options, and the myths that say I can't touch it, well, the truth is a little bit different, isn't it?
That's right. And I think you have to first answer the question, or ask the question, what does annuity mean? Annuity means a stream of payments. Some people have put this stigma on it because they've either said, oh, my uncle lost money, or gosh, I had one of those and I felt like I never was going to get my money back from it. Annuities, by design, are supposed to provide you an income stream that you can't outlive. That's probably the most powerful thing inside of an annuity contract. Now, it is a contract. It's an agreement between you and an insurance company wherein you make either small deposits throughout the course of your working life, perhaps, or you deposit one lump sum of money and they're going to return it to you over your lifetime at some point, whether it's 30 days from now or 30 years from now. You kind of control that because you just have to have the type of annuity that fits your specific needs. So to say all annuities are good or all annuities are bad, that's not a fair statement. So understanding what's going to be right for you and your retirement needs, that's the first question to answer. The second part is knowing that the annuity can be a healthy part of one of the pieces of your retirement income. You control this. I think that's another huge part here because you can decide when to take the income. Let's say, for instance, think of a pension, for instance. You may have a set number or age that you have to retire from a company, and there's a certain amount that they're going to give you come heck or high water. With the annuity, you can control that, and I think the liquidity of it, what you're talking about, is really the access, Arif, to this money. Again, you control that. You can say, I can take out all of the money after a certain time if I don't need the income stream, or I can take out up to 10% in most cases without any penalty or fee. And I think that's beautiful because that's so predictable to know that you have, 10%, nobody really that I know spends 10% of their retirement income. They usually spend maybe 4, 5, 6% depending on when they take it.
Yeah, think about that, guys. If you're taking out 10% a year and you're somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 or 11 years and you're done.
Right.
Your retirement income is not going to be there for you in the way in which you think. So why is that an important thing? Because the management of the way you take your income is almost more important than the management of the asset itself, especially if you're preparing to have a safer money choices, meaning you're not going to go up and down with the market. Look, in order for brokers and Wall Street to make money, your money has to be at risk. Now, you need to understand that. That's a big deal. In order for your money to be at risk, that means you are the one that's the only one taking the chance.
Right.
If it goes down, the broker has 10, 50, 200 different clients. You have 1 or 2 retirement accounts. And it goes down, they go, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that." You're like, what do you mean? What do you mean, sorry? I had $250,000. It's worth 180. What do you mean? Well, we invested in this and international that and oil prices this and currency, and they use big words to try to. I don't know if they do it on purpose or not, but they use big words. It's confusing. Oh, they sound like they know what they're doing. Oh, okay. And then you sit there and say, well, okay, so wow. So I gave you 250. It's worth 180. Yes, but okay. Well, back up. Did you guys charge a fee for that? Well, we have our standard, our annual management fee and 12B1s and our quarterly, and then we have our asset. And forget all those words. Did you take money out of my account and it went into your account or your manager or somebody? Did it leave mine and go into yours? And you guys still stunk. You lost my money and you got paid for it. Well, yeah, because look. Keep it simple, buddy. Because I want you to be empowered with your own retirement accounts. If you think some risk is important, fantastic. I think everybody should have money in different places. That's your own thing. I do, you do, everybody does. If you want to have money at risk, just understand you could lose some or part or even all of it. A fixed account where you do not have the money in a risky place to lose is often a better choice. Remember, if it's your money and you're the only one taking the risk, that's a problem, in my opinion. Right? I don't think there's a reason to do that in today's market when, the Federal Reserve talks or China talks or Japan or Europe, and is England going to exit the euro? And if they do, what happens to Germany? And then, oh my gosh, there's companies that I own that are part of Germany, and I thought I had a safe AAA municipal bond fund. Well, that's
Right.
wonderful, except did you happen to see that 10% of it is invested in Puerto Rico and they just went bankrupt? Well, for all intents and purposes, they're not paying. So I don't know what you call it. You can call it whatever you want, but they're not paying. Why? Well, because they have amazing pensions. Did you know that? They have amazing salaries. They have 4 people doing one person's job, and sometimes that's not even done properly. And your, quote, safe place that you thought was safe,
Diversified.
had a big percentage in a place where the depth of corruption can be measured with a yardstick.
Yeah.
So be very careful with what you call safe and where you put your, quote, safe money.
Well, I just want to add really quickly that you don't even have to be invested in some of those places that are highly volatile. The sentiment of the market, the way people think, is highly driven by the world news, international news. You say, oh, well, that's way over on the other side of the world. So do you think that people over here don't see a wave coming or anticipate something and make financial moves? And when they let go of something, it can affect the prices of your investment. So you don't have to be invested in it, but you can still be affected by that news. And I think we've all kind of seen the backlash of some of the, the Monday morning news after a volatile weekend or something crazy happens. It can be a war, it can be an act of terrorism, a disaster. A lot of things happen. And if your retirement is attached to that, that can drastically change your lifestyle. And that's really what we're cautioning you to take a look at.
And a lot of us will say over time the market outperforms everything. That might be fantastic. But if you're 60, 70, 80, even 50, 60, 70, 80, and you plan on retiring in the next 10 years, you can look back at the last 10 years and see if the savings portion and the investment portions and the retirement accounts you have, if they would have been better in a place where you receive 2, 3, 4% a year, maybe 5% a year, but without any of the fees and any of the volatility. Sometimes it makes sense to not go backwards. Who was it that said what is it, the Hippocratic Oath, with doctors and physicians. First, do no harm. I think every broker should take an oath that says, for your retirement money, money that's not supposed to be at risk, money that's supposed to be there because we're not sure if Social Security is going to continue to raise its payments or your pension is going to raise its payments. We need money to fill that gap so that our lifestyle keeps up with inflation. First, do no harm. First, don't lose my money. Maybe that's the story that brokers should raise their right hand and swear to. First, do not lose any money. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know. We're going to come back in just a minute because I want to get into how to use annuities for retirement income. Is there a place for it, and how does it fit in? What is it, right? Jeff's mentioned what an annuity is. Let's go and say, how does it work? And let's dispel some of those myths, especially on the payout time when you're taking money out, right? A lot of people think, that's it. I took a paycheck. Because my grandmother had an annuity, and once she started taking payments, she couldn't get the rest of the money. It was owned by the insurance company. Not the case. We'll be back in just a minute on your place for news, talk, and information. Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. I'm Arif Halaby. We'll be right back.